Hey guys, Brad Danger here, and this is how Ford took the safest, strongest name in trucks and managed to trip over their own extension cord. And this is how Ford got the F-150 Lightning so wrong. I mean, this was supposed to be the moment, the moon landing, the mic drop. The future is here and it's wearing work boots. Instead, it turned into one of the most expensive lessons Ford has learned in decades. Let's rewind real quick. When Ford first unveiled the F-150 Lightning, it felt like they finally cracked the code. No weird sci-fi shapes, no stainless steel triangles, no door handles that disappear when you look at them wrong. It just looked like an F-150 because Ford understood something Tesla didn't. Truck buyers don't want their truck to look like it escaped from a Marvel movie. They want something familiar, something that says, I can tow your boat, and yes, I can own a ladder. And on paper, the Lightning, it was insane. Instant torque, 0 to 60 in about 4 seconds, a frunk big enough to host Thanksgiving dinner, power outlets everywhere. You could run a job site, you could power your house, you could blend margaritas in your front trunk while flexing on your neighbors during a blackout. Not from the margaritas. Science was tight, very tight. Ford even nailed the marketing. They pitched it as a truck for everyone, a working class EV, a $40,000 electric pickup that would bring electrification to America's driveways instead of just Silicon Valley parking garages. People, they lost it. They lost their minds. Reservations exploded. Ford doubled production before the first one even rolled off the line. Car journalists crowned it Truck of the Year. Politicians test drove it. The internet declared it the anti-Cybertruck. And for a brief moment, it looked like Ford had done the impossible. Make an electric truck that normal truck people actually might buy. And guys, real quick, Rocky from New York already drove off with the first GTR and the bonus cash that changed his life. We literally flew him out here. He hung out with us for the whole weekend. We shipped his car back home to New York, and the dude had the time of his life. It genuinely changed everything for him. And now it's your turn. If you want a shot at winning your dream car plus bonus cash, hit the link in the pinned first comment right now. Now, back to the show. And then Ford immediately stepped on a rake. Let's start with the biggest sin. They completely misread their own customers. Ford assumed demand for a big, expensive electric truck would behave like demand for a gas F-150. Well, guess what? It doesn't. Gas truck buyers are used to options, trims, price ladders, and buying what fits their budget. EV buyers are far more price sensitive, especially when range anxiety and charging infrastructure are still real concerns. Ford, they just looked at the early hype and thought it meant mass adoption. What it actually meant was early adopters, tech enthusiasts, company buyers, rich guys who already had 3 trucks. Ford bet on a niche while thinking they were betting on mainstream. That's mistake numero uno. Mistake number dos was pricing, and oh boy, the Lightning was introduced as a $40,000 truck. How many of you guys got reservations for that truck? The number did a lot of heavy lifting. It got working people excited, contractors, small business owners, people who actually use trucks. Except that truck basically, well, it never existed. As soon as production reality set in, Ford started raising prices and raising them again, and base Lightnings ballooned as affordable EVs to luxury appliances with a bed. By the time real customers were getting calls, that $40,000 dream was dead. $60,000 was the new norm. Upper trims were flirting with $80,000, sometimes even more. At that point, the Lightning wasn't competing with gas F-150s anymore. It was competing with luxury SUVs, diesel trucks, and people's mortgages. And a lot of buyers, they just walked away. Reservations got canceled left and right, forums filled with rage. People felt bait and switched, which isn't a good thing when you're Ford. And Ford didn't just lose sales, they lost trust. Not a good thing to lose. And in truck country, trust, well, it matters. Then came the problem Ford hoped nobody would talk about. Towing. Electric trucks are incredible until you ask them to do truck things. Unloaded, the Lightning felt like a rocket. But loaded up, well, different story. Hook up a trailer and watch the range evaporate like water on a hot skillet. Real-world towing tests showed range dipping so fast it made people nervous, not slightly inconvenient nervous. This defeats the point of owning a truck nervous. And it wasn't just the range, it was the logistics. Charging with the trailer is a nightmare. Stations aren't built for it. You can't just pull up, plug in, and leave. You're unhitching, blocking spot, stressing out your wife and your wife's boyfriend and everybody else around you. Truck buyers, they noticed. fast. Suddenly, the Lightning went from the future of work to a really cool second or third vehicle, and that's not what Ford needed it to be. Then there was the issue Ford absolutely should have seen coming. Dealerships. Ford tried to play both sides. They wanted a modern EV buying experience. They still relied on dealers, and dealers did what dealers have always done with demand outpaces supply. Well, they got greedy. Markups, they exploded. 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, in some cases more. People who reserved early showed up expecting MSRP and got slapped with market adjustment stickers that felt like a punch to the throat. Ford publicly scolded dealers, sent warning letters, threatened allocations, but well, the damage was already done. Buyers didn't care who was technically at fault. All they saw was a Ford badge and a bad experience. That rollout alone poisoned the well. While all of this was happening, reality kept piling on. Early battery issues triggered recalls and production pauses. Reliability scores weren't great. Electronics glitches popped up and resale values dropped like a rock once Ford started discounting new inventory to move trucks. Imagine paying $70,000+ for a Lightning, then watching brand new ones get advertised with massive discounts a year or not even that long later. And that hurts a lot, especially for the #1 selling truck in America. And by the time production caught up, demand, well, it had cooled like the North Pole. Interest rates were high, incentives were changing. Competition, they were a common. The Lightning went from sold out to sitting on lots shockingly quick. Ford had overcorrected. They ramped up production for a market that didn't actually exist at that price point. Then came the final twister of the knife: policy changes. Yes, Ford had built a business case assuming strong EV incentives and regulatory pressure. When those winds shifted, well, the math stopped working. The Lightning wasn't cheap enough without subsidies, and Ford no longer needed it to hit emissions targets. Suddenly, the most ambitious electric truck in America became optional, with no fireworks, no dramatic announcement, just a slow, awkward fade out. That's how it went away. Production paused, plans changed, messaging shifted. The Lightning went from the future of the F-Series to a learning experience. So what exactly went wrong? And it took me a couple of days to really nail this down. And what I came up with is that the Lightning itself, it wasn't bad. In many ways, it was actually quite brilliant. It proved electric trucks could be fast, powerful, and genuinely useful. It showed what EVs could do when engineers were allowed to go wild. But Ford tried to force the future a little too hard, too fast, and at the wrong scale. They started at the top instead of the bottom. They chased headlines instead of affordability. They assumed hype equaled readiness. What should they have done? Honestly, start small. An electric Maverick, yeah, I see you in the back. Yeah, you're nodding your head, would have been a home run. Affordable, manageable range, no towing expectations, perfect for commuting, light hauling, and everyday life. And that's how you win hearts. That's how you build trust. Then you scale up. Instead, Ford jumped straight to the heaviest, most demanding vehicle segment possible and expected battery tech to magically solve everything. And well, guess what? It didn't. Now Ford, they're pivoting. Hybrids, extended range EVs, smaller trucks, practical solutions instead of moonshots. They are keeping the Lightning name, but changing what it actually means. And that's probably the right move because, I mean, here's the truth. The Lightning didn't fail because electric trucks are dumb. It failed because Ford tried to replace the gas F-150 before the world was actually ready. Trucks don't need to be first, they need to work. And the Lightning, as cool as it was, or is I guess, asked buyers to compromise on too much, pay too much, and trust too much. Ford swung at the future and punched themselves in the face. But that game isn't over. If Ford actually listens this time, builds affordable trucks, mixes electric with hybrid practicality, and respects how people actually use their vehicles, they can still win this. The Lightning was a foul ball, painful, expensive, really embarrassing, but the next pitch, that's the one that counts. I'm Brad, and this has been how Ford has gotten the F-150 Lightning all wrong, but I think there's gonna be a glow up real soon. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments down below. And remember to go to winthisIdealcar.com to get entered to win your dream car plus bonus cash. And if you enjoyed the vid, well, like, subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and check out some of these Ideal vids over here. I'm Brad Danger. This is Ideal. That's Lightning. Catch you next weekend. Promise me one thing. Keep living the Ideal lifestyle.